Hey everyone, Matron here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary, this time Game 2 of the best of 3 series between ATN Socke and his opponent Liquid HuK, spawning as the Red Protoss. Again, this is part of the group, or the Pool A pool play from MLG Dallas, where each player plays the other 4 players in their pool. This is a pretty nice pool. It's got Idra, HuK, Kiwi, Socke, and Greetorp in it, so a lot of very strong Protoss players. Causing some of the players in that pool a little bit of trouble. And Socke was able to take the first game from HuK here, so he's hoping to close out the series. Again, a very strong PvP player. HuK just coming back from Korea and may not be used to the European or the American style of play, as recently he has been just playing primarily on the European or on the Korean ladder. So you see him doing a little bit of micro, making sure his probes are on all the close positions here, or all the close mineral patches. So yeah, the Koreans play a little bit differently ladder-wise than the Americans and Europeans. The Koreans tend to do a little bit more in the way of all-ins. So HuK was commenting when he first went over there that he really had to get used to, people bringing probes and SCVs on attacks, and just the all-in brutal nature of the Korean ladder. So now that he's used to that, it may be a little more difficult to come back to the European or the American way of playing. So we'll see if he's able to take this game off Socke and force a Game 3. So see, we are on xel'naga Caverns here. Socke again doing a very nice job keeping all of his buildings close to home. That's going to make any sort of zealot that tries to sneak in here difficult to get around these buildings. HuK being a little bit more free-flowing with his buildings at this point. So see, both players getting up their second pylon, and I believe the cybernetic score is on the way for both players. HuK just a second or two ahead, so not a huge deal. But again, we'll check to see whether one or both players trying to go for that 4-gate, as HuK tries to do his little bit of micro here. Saw he made one probe go to a different mineral patch there. So again, often 4-gates are pretty popular in PvP, and you want to scout it from your opponent. But on this map, you're able to play a bit more defensive, as the ramp is not as wide as Scrap Station. So if you're able to get up a sentry, you can perhaps defend with 3 gates. I've seen a lot of great pros defend a 4-gate with 3 gates, and then they're just ahead economically. They're able to tech up a little bit to a robo faster. HuK did a much better job this game of trying to do what I described in the last game, causing those probes to get off their mineral patch and take a little bit of a walk before they're able to mine. So we see the Zealot for both players just chasing away the probe. And a Zealot's something that a lot of Protoss players had been skipping a number of months ago, but it seems like it's pretty standard now to get out that initial Zealot, chase away that probe, just so you can start setting up your tech a little bit earlier, as we see HuK getting down a second gas, and this is earlier than he got down the second gas in the first game. So I imagine he may be going for a bit more of a tech-heavy build, possibly a few sentries to play defensive against any sort of 4-gate variation, as we do see Socke coming out with another 3 gates. He will be 4-gating, or HuK could be coming out with a Robo, Stargate, any sort of early gas-heavy play, perhaps immediately into Blink Stalkers, and it looks like the first sentry on its way out for HuK. So I imagine he will be playing defensive, as we see Socke getting a pylon. This is a pretty good position. It's not close enough to HuK's base that he's going to be scouting for it. If you check, it's just out of line of sight of the tower here as well. So if HuK hit that, he would not see this pylon. So now it looks like the units are rallying in for Socke. HuK coming in with a probe. He will be able to see that the 4 gates are up. He does have a robotics facility about a third of the way done. So if he's able to get that up and chrono boost out an immortal, it could be huge in this attack. But he needs to get the sentry, and he needs to get a force field or 2. Looks like 2 pylons being placed down. Socke wants to get high ground sight at the top of this ramp, and then use these pylons to begin warping in units on the top of HuK's base here, up this ramp. And more pylons coming up. Another 2 sentries popping out for HuK, and this is what you have to do. You have to play defensive, you have to use these sentries, get a perma force field. It looks like HuK, knowing that the pressure's coming, canceling that robo even though it was almost done, throwing up another gate, and it looks like the Zealots have gotten up here for Socke, so we will be able to start warping in units on the high ground here, and now just fending off, doing a little bit of dueling here with the Zealots of HuK. HuK only has these 3 gates working though at the moment. The Stalkers doing their best to shoot this extra gateway. If he's able to take down this gateway, it's just going to be 4 gates against the 3. The Zealots getting a little bit far away from their supporting Stalkers. No more force fields on that ramp. The Stalkers have made it up into the base of HuK, and now we see HuK doing his best to defend against this 4 gate with the 3 gates that he does have. His extra gateway about 90% of the way complete, and HuK just having to retreat back here. He only has a few sentries left, warping in a few additional units, getting chrono boost down on those gateways, trying to get out as many units as he can. Oh, and down goes a pylon, so 2 of those gateways are going to be unpowered. He's just working off these 2 gates at the moment, both of them chrono boosted, having to pull off a number of probes. Notice he's keeping a few probes to get the mining still going, and trying to DPS with these probes, force the Stalkers to micro back a little bit, but the sentries are just not very good DPSing units, as you see him pulling back these low sentries, regaining or joining back into the battle as soon as their shields start charging a little bit, and HuK having to give the GG there. Wow, so pretty crazy, as Socke threw down a number of pylons here. One of them actually went down. HuK was able to focus it down. You often see one pylon placed down, but Socke tripling up here, making sure that he does have that energy on the high ground, and eventually he was able to get those Zealots up there and then just start warping in, working on that gateway, and that pylon going down was huge. HuK was not able to power these 3rd and 4th gateways until the very end, and at that point it was just 2 gates versus the 4. He was already at a disadvantage with the 3 gates versus the 4, and I don't think he did enough damage to the units of Socke, as he did have those force fields up. He had to focus on those pylons instead of being able to take down units, as they were stuck on the low ground, and Socke was just able to push up here and take 2 straight games, sweep Liquid HuK in this pool play. Again, very strong PvP. I'll be interested to see how Socke fares in the rest of this tournament, whether HuK's able to recover. I believe he did pretty well in pool play after this, so both players should be in decent position to compete on Sunday, as it is Sunday when I'm casting this game. If you were looking for more MLG action, I know the stream has been down all weekend long, or at least a little bit on the fritz. Check out my channel, Matron StarCraft. I've brought Destiny games, Mr. Bitter, and now we're working my way through some of the top pros as well. So Matron StarCraft, youtube.com. Thanks for watching this one. Take care.